I was here, but I was gone.
You were going, yeah.
Yeah. We wasn't sure if any of us was here,
Yeah,
I'm
we had
never sure
a,
if I'm here or not till I pitch myself.
but we're back.
are we on, Dave?
Smoke free, please complete. Oh, you got some kind of message.
Oh. Are we on still?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
We
So, Daniel 11, verse 12. And when he has taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall be cast down many 10,000, but he shall not be strengthened by it.
So
For
he's not going to win, even though he wins all the battles. That's what's going on. He's winning battle
All
after
the
battle,
battles, lost the war.
tens, thousands, and 10,000s and killing them, but he can't win. They keep coming.
Loses the war.
Sounds familiar, doesn't
It
it?
ain't ready yet.
That was a battle. That wasn't a war.
And this is why, the next verse says why. For the king of the north shall return and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former.
Well, the next
In other
army,
words, over and over and over, he raises a bigger army.
bigger army. Next time around, they ain't giving up.
So no matter how many kill, this is like in the insanity of war. You can sacrifice all the troops you want. You can get all the people killed you want, but you may still not win. And that's what's happening here with the king of Egypt. He's
Good
got
thing
army
that's
after
all.
army, and he kills tens of thousands after tens of thousands, and every time he kills 10,000,
10,000
20,000 show
more.
up. He kills them 20,000s and 40,000 show up.
Yep.
And he's like, when is this gonna end?
I'm thinking, I'm looking at generations here,
Yeah,
cause it takes a while to build an army bigger than the one you had before.
yeah. And I can't see that for David's big old head, so I'm gonna ask David to finish reading 13.
For the king of the north shall return and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former. Multitude meaning
Of
A lot of
troops,
people.
soldiers.
and shall what is that?
Certain.
Certainly, after certain years, with a great army and with much riches.
So he had a whole lot of equipment, a whole lot of substance.
More. That army.
So no matter what happens, this
you do?
king of the north of Syria,
Gas
he's
tax
obviously
on
got a better alliance with other kingdoms, other peoples. Or he's got a bigger alliance and more troops and more money than Egypt could raise. And in those times, there shall be many stand up against the king of the south or against Egypt.
Give me some.
And also the robbers of the people.
Shall exalt themselves to establish the vision, but they shall fall.
So that must have been very, very frustrating. Can you imagine being that king and you go out and your army goes out and you kill all these troops and you win this battle and more are coming than you can kill?
Yeah.
It reminds me of the, do you all ever see the movie like The Mummy?
Yep.
Oh
Brandon
yeah.
Fraser, love that movie.
Many times.
No matter how many comes, there's still more. And they're like, how many is gonna be? How can they keep coming? And they just keep coming and keep coming.
But they keep falling.
And they keep falling, but it doesn't matter because for every 10 he kills, there's 20 coming.
It's true.
That's what this king of Egypt was facing. And it must have been such a frustration to win the battles, but never, ever win the war.
Right.
Guess what happens when you do that? Eventually you go flat broke. You run out of troops. You
Well,
run out of gold. You run out of food.
but guess what? In verse 15, it
Run out of
changes.
tax.
Yep. So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount and take the most fenced cities, and the arms of the south shall not withstand, neither his chosen people, neither shall there be any strength to withstand.
Okay, what that means is the king of the north came and he cast up siege. He took the fortified cities. So they did siege works. They besieged the fortified cities of Egypt.
Yeah, this one
And they
here.
could not stand up to, they were so many that they could not hold up against it. Even his best troops, his chosen, his champions, his inner circle of troops shall not have the strength against the Syrian king.
This here says Antiochus of Syria defeated the fortified city of Sidon in 198 BC.
And I love verse 16. But, there's always a but.
But he that comes against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him, and he shall stand in the glorious land which by his hand shall be consumed.
So, Antiochus the Great came against Syria and did according to his own will. In other words, Syria had squandered so much troops, so much food, so much of everything going against Egypt that here comes somebody else and just overloads them. And he shall stand in the glorious land, or Israel. Even way back then, the country of Israel, the land of Israel, that God promised to Abraham was the glorious land. But in the hand of this ruler shall be destruction, and all the land shall be in his power. So Antiochus the Great comes in and he not only takes Egypt and Syria, but he also takes Israel. But he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will. In other words, he can do anything he wants to. Syria defeated Egypt soundly. But here comes this other guy, and he is just bad to the bone. Best way
I think
he
what
does anything he wants.
Yeah.
I think it's what he's saying. He's retreating back from Egypt, and he's going to stop in Israel on his way back.
Yeah, and gets caught. He is caught in a trap.
Mm-hmm.
And so this new guy, Antiochus the Great, just slaps him around like his own will, slapped him around like a little plaything.
Yep.
And he shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom.
And upright ones with him.
Wow. So he set his face to come with the strength of his whole kingdom, and with him upright conditions in terms of peace. He comes in, he quickly and soundly defeats the Syrian king, the king of the north, and has good terms of peace. You do all of this, and we'll sue peace. And what else does he do? He shall give him his daughter to corrupt and destroy it. Oh my goodness. Why do they keep doing this? This is something I cannot grasp about all of the Middle Eastern minds, even in Israel. They give up their daughters. Why do they have... Greg, are you going to give up Melissa?
Nope.
Who else has a daughter here?
Nope.
Me. I ain't giving up none of mine either. Why do they keep doing this? They have so little respect for women. And first thing they do, here, have my daughter. You can do whatever you want to with her. Just stop beating up my men. What about the daughter? Does anybody ever consider? I don't get this, y'all. I've got 3 daughters. Touch my daughter, and I don't care if I go to prison. I will put you 6 feet down.
Yeah, but what if your daughter turns against you?
I'll put 6 feet down. It's still my daughter.
Here's what happens.
Are we still in verse 17?
Yes.
His daughter, Cleopatra the First, in an attempt to overthrow the kingdom, Antiochus the Third's daughter, Cleopatra, was given in marriage to Ptolemy the Fifth Epiphanes of Egypt in order to destroy or undermine Egypt. But Cleopatra sided with her husband over her father.
Exactly. Why do they keep doing this? Why did Abraham give his wife, saying that oh, this is my sister, you can do what you want to? I'd put Abraham under if I was her, okay? I want the whole world to understand and know this. That if I do that to Kathy, folks, y'all,
Yeah.
you will find me with a whole lot of holes in me. Okay? Because that woman will seek vengeance that you ain't never dreamed of.
Look here, Abe.
There you go. I guarantee. Now, Kathy does not like large caliber handguns. They're loud, they're noisy, bright. But she loves small caliber handguns, and she will put so many holes in me you can't count them. Okay? Why do they get away with this? I don't understand. I'm being honest here. I don't understand why they act like this. And yet they keep doing it, and it never works out. Did it work out for Abraham when he gave Sarah, his wife, because he said, this is my sister? Didn't work out. Did it work out when the king of Egypt and the king of Syria had their son and daughter to marry? Did it work out? No.
I bet you he was furious.
Then Cleopatra goes here, and Cleopatra the First, and it don't work out.
He had to be furious.
This is the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. This is why in Christianity, what Jesus did was so much different, because people couldn't understand him either. His mother, he cherished, married, loved everybody equal. He did not say that the women are lower class and should be bartered and traded off. No, they should be loved, traded, cherished. Why did Paul say, wives, obey your husbands? Yeah, that's where so Christians want to stop. But husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church. And he gave his life to create and give that church life.
Yep. And after this, shall he turn his face unto the isles and shall take many, but a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him. Then he shall turn his face towards the fort of his own land, but he shall stumble and fall and not be found.
Isn't that interesting?
Here's your
So what happened in the future? Because this is prophecy now. So what actually happened, David?
says Antiochus III undertook a vigorous campaign into Asia Minor in the Aegean region. The Roman Lucius Cornelius Scipio defeated Antiochus. Having lost all they had gained, Antiochus returned to his own land, where he was defeated and killed while trying to plunder a temple.
Yep.
He was broke again. Had to go back.
Yep. He turned his own insolence and reproach upon himself. This is the end result of Satan, y'all.
Yeah.
This is the same thing. Satan started as the chosen angel, the most beautiful of all the angels. He brought his own reproach upon himself, and his end result is the same end result here. Gets thrown into the pit of hell, and the gates are locked. Over and over and over, we keep doing the same stupid thing. But listen, human beings are that way. We keep doing the same stupid thing over and over, expecting a different result. It doesn't work.
Then shall stand up, referring back to this verse, in his estate a raiser of taxes in the glory of the kingdom, but within a few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle.
Wow. So he's gonna set up a tax office and demand taxes,
Yep.
tribute to pass through and to exist there. But he shall be destroyed, not by battle,
Anger or battle.
nor in battle.
Yep.
But in his estate shall stand up a vile person, a contemptible person, an ugly person, to whom they shall not give the honor of the kingdom.
Right. Here's what my verse 21 says. And in the place in Syria will arise, verse 20.
Oh, verse 20.
Yeah. Then in his place, his eldest son, Seleucus IV Philopater, will arise, who will send an oppressor through the jewel of his kingdom. Yet within a few days he will be shattered, though not in anger nor in battle. So
He does it through political intrigue, through flatteries, through cunning, hypocritical conduct.
Yep.
That's how he's destroyed. He gets a backstabber that wears him out.
So who's this talking about?
I don't know,
Satan.
nope.
really.
I mean, I don't know. Possibly.
Well,
Verse 21, a despicable and despised person. Antiochus IV Epiphanes seized the throne through treachery and later defiled the temple in Jerusalem.
there's the guy. So he gets a slick talking backstabber who comes in and takes the throne, destroys the temple in Israel, and what happens to every time they destroy the temple in Israel? You ought not to do that. God gets a little riled up about it. Still his house. Even when the Jews despised it, and he got a little riled at them too, because that's still his house.
Yeah. And with the armies of a flood shall they be overflown from before him, and shall be broken. Yea, also the prince of the covenant.
Those who were at peace with him also shall be broken, swept away. So in other words, not just that kingdom, but all those aligned with him and all those that were in a covenant with him.
He's still working on his way to getting he's working his way through the treachery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after the league was made with him, he shall work deceitfully.
There he's still
He
more
shall
treachery.
come up unexpectedly, shall become strong to small people. He doesn't need huge armies. He comes in with the deep state. But that's what it is.
Yeah,
Those
that's
people
pretty good.
who
That's
are
pretty
in key positions, keys in finance, keys in food distribution, keys in the armory, keys people over the horses and the cavalry. It's all you need. If you take away the horses, do what you want with the food, take away the money,
Yep.
the kingdom falls in no time flat.
Yep, and then you throw all them taxes on it.
Yep. He shall enter peaceably, even unto the fattest places of the province. The fattest places, the wealthy places, the most resources.
Riches. Yeah.
And he shall do that which his fathers have not done, nor his fathers' fathers. He shall scatter among them
And prey and
the
spoil.
and the riches.
Yea, and he shall forecast his devices against the strongholds, even for a time.
Wow. And that time is the period that God allowed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he shall stir up his power and his courage against the king of the south with a great army, and the king of the south shall be stirred up to battle with a very great and mighty army, but he shall not stand, for they shall forecast devices against him.
They set up schemes and devices. Even though the king of Egypt had built a new vast army, that he had backstabbers down there, and they had invaded, they had infiltrated.
Yep.
It's a mess like we have today
Exactly.
all over this one.
And it's going to get worse.
Because the devil only has three things.
That's the KGB and the CIA. And
He's only got one trick, he's only got one thing he does.
There's always a Cold War somewhere.
And if you when we can open our eyes and see the wiles of the devil doing his thing, then we can prepare against it. We can prepare our hearts and our lives.
It's kind of funny thinking about a Cold War with a hot devil.
Yea, they that feed of the portion of his meat shall destroy him. Wow. That is, woohoo.
And his army shall overflow, and many shall fall down slain.
So what I'm reading is, yet those who eat of his rich and dainty food shall break and destroy him. Those that he brought in, that he, come on. I love all of y'all. Come on in here, we're going to feed you, we're going to take care of you, we're going to do all this stuff, you're going to fight for me all you want to. His army shall drift and turn away and flee.
Yep.
And many shall fall down slain. Wow.
Fed them too much.
No, they were
Open borders.
they open borders. They were not committed.
Ooh.
When you
I know.
listen, when
I
you
said the
bring
wrong
in
thing.
all these different cultures, you
Shame
have
on me.
no national focus. You have no national pride. You will fall apart and be destroyed.
Now you're talking about America now.
Yes, I am. But see, I'm also talking about Russia. I'm talking about Ukraine. I'm talking about all of the European countries.
Yep.
If you have no national pride, what has been the biggest failure of all of Europe? The European Union and the Euro. Because they broke down their borders and had no national pride. And then the Brits were the first. No. We don't want to be part of you all. We want to have our national pride. We want to have our own history. We want to have our own nation. We want to have our own borders. We don't want y'all just coming and going and doing all this stuff.
Well, David, why don't you read 27-28 for us?
Okay, and as for both of these kings, their hearts will be set on doing evil. They will speak lies over the same table, but it will not succeed, for the end is yet to come as the appointed time.
Appointed time.
Let's get 26.
No, you did good.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. 28 says, then he, Antiochus the fourth Epiphanes, will return to his land with great plunder, and his heart will be set against the holy covenant, and he will take action and return to his own land in Syria.
So his malicious intent, his evil,
Yep.
and he returns home. And at the time appointed by God, at God's own time, he shall return and come
Toward the south.
toward what, David?
The south.
The south.
But it shall not be as the former or as the later.
So it's not going to be as the former invaders of Egypt. For the ships of the Shittim, or Cyprus in Roman hands, shall come against him. Therefore he shall be grieved and return and have indignation. Wow. It's the Holy Covenant. So, what happens is, here comes somebody else. He got weak. He got weak in his fatness. He got weak in his wealth. He got weak in not having a straight national policy and a firm, solid grip. And here comes the shitums, the Romans. They come against him, and he shall be grieved because he's going to lose, always.
Guess who the Egypt's allies were?
Who are they?
The Romans.
There you go. So Egypt says, I ain't getting tired of being slapped around by these guys from Syria. And then we got the new kids on the block, these Romans, let's go cuddle up to them.
Yep. And arms shall stand on his part, and they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and shall take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. Uh-oh, David.
So what they did was they came into the temple, they
Yeah.
polluted the sanctuary, they took away the burnt offerings to God, and in its place, they put up an abomination of desolation, or an altar to a pagan god in God's house.
His name was Zeus.
And such as do wickedly against the covenant shall he corrupt.
The flatteries.
Wow.
You know what they sacrificed? One of the things the Jews couldn't eat. Pigs.
Yeah.
And they who are wise, so what it is, and as such violate the covenant, and she shall pervert and seduce with flattery. But the people who know their God is, and they trust even then, after all this has been going, understand this, Egypt and Syria, Israel has been the battlefield between these two great armies over and over and over. They got armies from the north coming south, wearing Israel out as they go, taking everything they want, and then here comes the Egyptians coming back up against Syria, destroying Israel, taking what they want, and the Israeli people are like, but our God. That's all they have to keep doing. That's all we have to do, keep doing, folks. But our God, but my God, who owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills, and all the gold and all the silver is his. And listen to me, David. And if he has those things, and he meets your needs according to his riches and glory, then what you have must be enough. Therefore, be fruitful and multiply. Use it according to his will and his reason, and do it right, and it's enough. And when you do that, guess what he can do? He can give you more. And when you use that for his glory and give him honor for it, he can give you more. I want you to understand I'm saying that because I'm 65 years old now. And I finally figured it out. And I would prefer, how old are you, David?
28.
I would hope that you'll figure it out by age 30, not age 65. Because at age 30, I hadn't figured it out. I was told it. My daddy told me. Sunday school teacher told me.
Yeah.
The preacher told me. My grandpa told me. But I didn't figure it out until I was in my 60s. And I pray above all things that everybody hearing this, figure it out. If your God owns all the cattle on 1,000 hills, and he does, and if your God owns all the gold, all the silver, it's all his, and he meets your needs according to his riches and glory, then what you got's enough. Use it properly, he'll give you more. Use that properly, he'll give you even more than that.
Yep. And they that understand among the people shall instruct many, yet they shall fall by the sword, and by flame, by captivity, and by spoil, many days.
Yeah, you're looking at some of the Jews going over to the Antiochus side. But the last part of it, 32, says that some people know the God's word and will not know that that's wrong and not be changed.
Yep.
I think it's saying more than that. It's saying even though those that understand this are teaching many people this, they still will fall by the sword.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. It's okay. If you tell people about Jesus Christ and you die for it, that's okay. If you teach people how God wants you to handle your finances and your life, and they kill you for it, that's okay. If you have that understanding.
Yeah.
It's when you don't understand that and you fall by the sword and you go to hell. That's the bad part.
Now when they shall fall, they shall be holpen with a little help, but many shall cleave to them with flatteries, and some of them of understanding shall fall, to try them, and to purge, and to make them white, even to the time of the end, because it is yet for a time appointed.
So, yeah, there's a lot of people who are going to get mixed up. And some of them are going to preach the gospel and truth and get killed. And some are going to see that and they're going to fail. And they're going to try flatteries and try all the other stuff. And they're going to fail and they're going to go die by the sword. But even to the end of time, because it is yet the time that God has appointed.
Yep.
And the king shall do according to his will, and he shall exalt himself and magnify himself above every god, and shall speak
Marvelous things
against the God of gods.
Yep.
This is what happens to people who think that they have come upon unto themselves. They'll speak and they'll claim that they are greater than God.
Yep.
It ain't good, guys. Don't do that, because what happens, David? They shall prosper for a time till the indignation be accomplished. For that's what's determined by God shall be done. In other words, God's will is going to be done no matter what.
It's true.
You can say what you want, you can do what you want, you can be flattered, you can butt mold.
And
Never get
also,
God's will.
His counsel will stand.
and also,
He will do
if
his
you
good
think
pleasure.
about it, with the capitalizations, it's fascinating to read the Old Testament, and we have read the phrase Lord God in Daniel. That's probably referring to Jesus. So
Yes.
it's pretty interesting. Neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, little g, for he shall magnify himself above all. But in
I
this,
love that again. The big old word, but.
But
Man, but it is a statement. But.
he honor the God of forces, and a God who is whom his fathers knew not, shall he honor the gold and silver and the precious stones and the pleasant things. Thus shall he do in the most strongholds with a strange God, whom he shall acknowledge and increase with glory, and he shall cause them to rule over many, and shall divide the land for gain.
For a price. He'll divide it up for money.
Yep.
He'll sell out to anybody who'll give him money.
Mhm.
You want to have your own kingdom over there in the South 40? Pay up. I'll let you be the king. I'll even appoint you as king over there. Little king.
So someone read verses, finish this out in 11.
Just a second here. I will help you out with that. And the time of the end, the king of the south will engage him in battle. King of the south will push up against him, engage him. And the king of the north shall come against him, or will storm against him like a whirlwind, with chariots and with horsemen and many ships. In other words, he's got a combined army here. He's got chariots, he's got horsemen or cavalry, he's got many ships. He will invade countries and sweep through them like a flood. He will also invade the beautiful land, which is Israel, and many will fall. But these will escape from his power: Edom, Moab, and the prominent people of the Ammonites. He will extend his power against the countries, and not even the land of Egypt will escape. So the land of the south, or Egypt, will not escape. He will get control over the hidden treasure of gold and silver. He's going to take all the stuff that's hidden, all the precious things of the Libyans, and the Cushites will also be in submission. So everybody's going to be submitted. But, I love that, but he shall have power over the treasures. But reports from the east, 44 please. But reports from the east and north shall trouble him or terrify him. And he will go out with great fury to annihilate and completely destroy them. He will pitch his royal tents between the sea and the beautiful holy land mountain. But he will meet his end with no one to help him. He's going to set up his tabernacle between the sea and Jerusalem. And that is where he meet his end. He was powerful, he was strong. But as what happens with everyone who goes against God, every leader who goes against God, always, no matter how strong you are, God's stronger. And if you spit at God's face, God will have his vengeance on you. Period. End of discussion. Don't do it. You hear me, Don? Don't do it.
I'm listening.
Don't do it. He'll get you.
And we'll finish Daniel out tomorrow, next week.
Tomorrow.
Next video.
What we'll do Daniel 12 next time and we'll be done.
With Daniel.
Yes, with Daniel.
Anyway, that's
Couple of years we'll be through with all of it.
that's it. We will see
We'll
you
never
next
be
week.
through with it because every time we open it up, we find something new.